Are you even a runner if you haven't run a marathon? Up to this point, I've been a little reluctant to run one. Why? I've just told myself I'm a 10-kilometer kind of gal. I like to go fast. And I like the freedom of being able to sign up for a race with 24 hours notice, not 24 weeks. But like every other 90s kids, there's 3 pipelines you eventually fall down: making sourdough, learning to DJ, or running a marathon. I've ironically done all 3, but today, marathon. So I've decided to train for one, realistically. Who needs therapy? Therapy's expensive, running is free. Minus the carbon plate shoes, the watches, the food, which we'll all get into. Moral of the story is I did a 30-day run streak. I started my run streak again after my father passed because I just needed a little win every single day. And it could be as simple as running for 5 minutes to a mile. I just had to run every day. And after that, I found myself really craving pushing myself and seeing where I've been. I haven't really felt like, as a former athlete, the need to really have a big goal for a long time. I've just kind of worked out for health and wellness, and which is great because that habit's built. But I do think there was something lacking in my life of just having a real exciting goalpost to work towards. Gave myself the goal. I want to feel like an athlete. I want to accomplish, but the time doesn't matter. So in these 12 weeks, what is my goal for this marathon? I want marathon day to feel like a music festival. I want to be trained enough that I can dance to vibes while I'm running. I want to be in a positive enough attitude after that race that I want to go over to chug some beers with my best friends. So the goals: finish the race. 2, enjoy the entire race. And 3, not injure or hurt myself during it. Let's go with all of May. I had no race to do, so I just ran. So I saw everyone using Runna, so I downloaded the Runna app and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't have a race that was available that I could get a spot in for the fall. So I was like, maybe I'll train for a year. So I actually just put in like 24 weeks because that was the max at the time we were allowed to do. And I was like, I'll just start training till a race comes up. So I did that for a month and just genuinely enjoyed it. I was doing some shorter runs, some longer runs. My speed was going, and every week my volume in my longer runs was getting just a little bit bigger. But still, the idea of running 16K seemed like a long run. How on earth am I gonna do 42K? And then something magical popped in my inbox. An invite to Berlin Marathon. Yep, that happened. And suddenly, 12 weeks away, and I had a date to change the 24 weeks into 12 weeks, and the real racing began. Day 1, marathon training. 7.2K, warm up, 300 meter intervals, cool down. Let's go. Dear future Keltie, when you say, why am I doing this? Remember this moment of excitement. June's theme, humbling myself. What I'm lacking right now is strength for speed. Even though I'm bumping up the volume, I also have to be so conscious of my weight training. I had to be realistic with myself. I know I've run a 40-minute 10-kilometer in the past, but when I started this, I was not there. Got an early morning flight, so I'm up at 4 a.m. to run. Crazy. I got sick in January and February, lost my father in March. I was running a little bit, my strength rate, everything was inconsistent. Just got to Sweden, 3 flights and traveling for 24 hours. Oh, the legs are heavy. I'm just going a mile to keep the streak. When I started my program, they asked you for your PR of 5-kilometer or 10-kilometer, and I could have easily put in 40 minutes. Midsummer long run here in Sweden. Look at this. But I also knew that is not the current Keltie. That is a former Keltie. Hungover and it's raining. Great. And realistically, maybe 60 minutes I could run a 10K in. And that's what I did. And I really had to humble myself and just being like, yeah, you're not there anymore. Because if I did that, I wouldn't even be able to get the paces the program would give me. And I think I'd feel like a failure right off the bat. So I'm running slow. And that's one of the risks. You want to push yourself, but you also don't want to push yourself and set such unrealistic goals. I've done enough in the past to realize that like having a big goal is great, and something far-reaching in the distant future can also be amazing. But when you only have a certain amount of time, you do have to be realistic, or otherwise you just set yourself up for failure. So I realized 60-minute 10K is a realistic place for me to be right now. And this sounds great, but I hated it. I had to humble myself. I had to put my ego aside. But I know if I trained like my old self that just pushed myself to the point of pain, I'd injure myself again, and this marathon would just never even happen. And a new goal emerged amongst this. When I realized I was running Berlin, what's happening close to Berlin a couple days after? Oktoberfest. So now my new goal is to be able to be in good enough mood to celebrate at Oktoberfest. Quick mile before my international flight. So what did my training look like? Running volume. I was doing 5 runs a week on Runna, plus 2 days I just ran a mile, really slow and chill to keep my run streak. Definitely not recommended, but what I did. Starting in June, I was about 43 kilometers a week total mileage, and then it eventually peaked up to 75 kilometers, which we'll talk about, but sprinkled in a couple deload weeks for recovery. Now, what kind of runs can you expect on a marathon training? One, your long run. What seems to be the bread and butter? And I chose to do it every Saturday. The first one I remember doing 16 kilometers, and I've never felt so accomplished of crushing that 16 kilometers, even though I'd done a half marathon. Something about being like, I don't know, it just provided such momentum, and that's how I knew I was in a good headspace to start marathon training. Then easy runs, which are anywhere from 5 to 15 kilometers, yet you get to a point where a 15 kilometer is an easy run. I remember hearing distance runners being like, oh yeah, I just have 10K today. I'm like, just 10K. Just 10K? And yeah, you eventually become that because 15K doesn't seem that big of a deal compared to 30. And then some speed work like tempo and interval training. Now, potentially one of the most important thing, but hardest part about training, and I'm really glad Runna included, is strength training. This is where I find marathon training really hard, and we'll talk about my schedule and the struggles I had, but it's really, really time consuming. Even if you do it chill, because you don't want to injure yourself, and that includes you have to do things like strength training. Yes, of course you can eliminate it, but the risk of injury is so much higher when you aren't doing strength training, and that was just something I said I have to commit to. I have to be doing strength training at least 3 times a week so I'm not miserable and prevent injury come race day, which goes along with mobility and glute activation. I have one glute that's stronger than the other, so I really had to focus on doing mobility exercises and exercise prescribed from my physio to really benefit that. And I won't lie, at the beginning, I was not great at this, and I paid the price. I had a sore glute, which led to a sore hamstring, which led to a sore knee, and there was a point in middle of July where I was like, wow, am I injured? And I just realized, no, it was a lack of focusing on some weaker muscles, and once I started strength training those, the knee pain went away. Now, I know this sounds super overwhelming, but it actually wasn't. I loved using the Runna app. I heard so many people talk about it, but I genuinely endorsed it. I've told my family about it, I told my friends, and this is why I'm partnered with them for this video, because I had so much fun training. It was simple, it adjusted, and it is the best app I've noticed available, because yes, I could get a training coach, but that's the whole point of having apps like this. When you don't have access to a running coach, it's a way to have their running coach designs programs and use the benefit of AI to adjust your training volume. Even like this, I think one reason sometimes you even hear online of like people being injured using these apps is I had to be realistic. I had to tell Runna at the start, I'm going to run a 60-minute 10-kilometer. And because of that, every pace and distance they gave me was super realistic to where I was. If I had put 40 minutes, honestly, I probably would have hurt myself. So there is some ownership there, but I absolutely loved it, and it just made it streamlined, easy every day. I had a program waiting for me, and I adjusted. Come August, I won't lie, my training was all over the place. I did that Everest challenge. I was traveling. I was all over the place, and I didn't have that concrete Monday through Sunday workout. So I had to adjust my runs throughout the week, and it allows it so seamlessly to move things around depending on your schedule to adjust for that, and that's why I loved using Runna. If you have the marathon itch, want to start running for the first time, or anything in between, you can try Runna for free for 2 weeks with my code Keltie. Thank you, Runna, for sponsoring this video. Today's run went really well. And I want to say something. When I got back into running after, my run streak, my dad died, I had to go back to running 7-minute kilometers. I had to hide it on Strava for my friends. I was super embarrassed. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about that, because this run I just did 8K and like everything was in the 5s and it felt easy. And I just wish I could go back to myself in March when I was running that slow and so embarrassed and be like, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You took time off, you're not as fast, you'll get faster. And that's how fitness always works. No matter how slow you are, no matter how weak you are, if you start, you will get faster, you will get stronger. Guaranteed, as long as you continuously show up. I am officially right now registering for the Portland Marathon. Oh my freaking Lord. Okay. Oh my God, I'm clicking it. Okay, I gotta pick my time. According to Runna, has estimated me at like 4:09 to 4:20. Registration successful. Oh my God. Ah! Oh my God. This is the middle of my sprint. Song came on, it said nephew, and my nephew's supposed to be born anytime in the next week, and I just started bawling. Oh my God. It was something about living up to being the person your nephew thinks you are, and I was just like, oh my God. I don't think I've ever ran that fast. I was like, say I'm 30 without saying I'm 30. Training for a marathon, crying at the thought of my nephew. Okay, on the running app, there's no workout today, but obviously need to keep the streak because Runna has me running 5 times a week. So the 2 days I just run very slowly a mile. So I'm just gonna run, holding my water bottle and everything, to my workout class and get some weights in. Long run Saturdays, 18K. Let's rip it at a nice conversational pace. Get me on the floor. Da, 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 da. My underwear is falling off. We ran to the bar yesterday. I should have turned on Strava. This week, it's my first deload week. It's a funny thing, like I got a 10K long run on Friday, and that's I'm like, oh, that's easy. And then 3 other workouts. And it's my birthday. So I don't know if Runna planned it because they knew my birthday, or just very meant to be timing. I'm back in Edmonton for the week. Marathon training continues, and it's my birthday. I'm telling my family I'm engaged, and I'm becoming an auntie today. Overwhelmed. No coffee needed. I did have coffee, but you know, vibes. First easy run as an auntie. Oh my God. I just have so much joy right now. I could skate for a week. Long run of the week, only 10K.
Okay, yes, a high percent of my diet is sandwiches and bread. But when I say I want a sandwich, this is what, this is excessive. But I love a thick bread, a lot of this is a little too much, this is overkill. But this is heaven to me.
Birthday run. I was originally gonna do the run as many kilometers as your age, but we're going golfing instead.
Amy, stay away from that.
Text a message, I don't know the number.
So let's talk time and sacrifices, realistically, of training for a marathon. I've always been scared of marathon training because I really just viewed it as a time of like hatred. Like you would spend all this time hating life. And specifically coming from an athlete is I only viewed running as punishment. You ran distance because you lost a game. Testing a super shoe today. Adidas, oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. Potential marathon shoe. We'll see. And I think taking a slow and easy approach to this and learning to enjoy an easy run was such an eye-opening way of like exploring my city, exploring nature. I'm really blessed to live in Vancouver. But even when I was back in Edmonton, realizing the joy you can get from just going slow. Today's the longest run so far of this training cycle. The dogs are cheering me on. We're at 20K, conversational pace. Got a Saturday, it's July. Life's good. I had to unlearn my old mentality. Sometimes the slowest runs are the most important ones. And it seems kind of crazy because you're going pretty slow, but you're just going these long distances. And it's just a complete change of mentality that I grew to enjoy. Let's talk realistically, because one of the other issues of a marathon training is it takes time. And I also don't want to sugarcoat this. I had to make a lot of sacrifices, but at the same time, I didn't want to completely sacrifice my social life, my health, my hormones, and here's how I did it. First, fueling. I eat a lot normally. I'm very active. I'm blessed with a fast metabolism. I'm taller than a lot of people, so I normally eat a crazy ton. And so I thought I was eating enough. And there's a couple weeks I realized I wasn't, so I really had to up my carbs specifically before and after workouts just to make sure I had extra energy. So number 1, to make sure I wasn't overtraining, is making sure I was getting enough calories, specifically carbs. 2, I learned how to add gels and chews, specifically during my 20-kilometer plus runs. I realized this was a great time to practice race day. And so I tried a bunch of different gels. I realized Berlin has Morton gels, so I practiced with those. And I just experimented. I tried not to put too much pressure on myself, but I just carried a bunch when I was on a run and tried having it when I didn't feel like it, when I did feel like it. A few times I experimented not having them to kind of feel what hitting the wall was and how a gel I would react to. And I think it was just the best time to like learn what worked for my body. 3, I prioritized sleep. this is the most important thing. But I also didn't want to sacrifice my social life. It was the summer, I'm with my girlfriends in Vancouver, and I just put up boundaries. There was many of times where we had girls' weekends where, you know, we were going out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'd just be honest, guys, I'll come out for dinner on Friday, no alcohol, and then I'm going to go home and go to bed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Versus, you know, in the past, I would have had some drinks. Now, because I had an early morning run and I knew I wouldn't be able to get that long Saturday morning run. But now, after that long Saturday morning run was gone and we were out on a Saturday, I was like, yep, I will have a couple beers with dinner. And then, you know what? The reality is I had to sacrifice my social life on weekdays. I just possibly couldn't fit in my workouts, runs before work, be at the office about 9 hours every day, and then make it home and get any errands done. So I just had to prioritize sleep on weekdays, and that was the sacrifice I made, but it made me enjoy running more because I wasn't miserable and I was properly recovered and slept. And why all these are so important is because I'll use the terms of Dr. Stacey Sims, is she doesn't really believe in overtraining, it's under recovering. So I made sure to get in enough sleep, not increase my volume too much, enough food, and of course, strength train. Of course, there's some other things I did, but just making sure to do that. Yes, there's times I was hurt and needed to do some tweakments, but I never got injured during marathon training. And I actually went and got some hormone testing just for some other things I'm going through, and I never saw any impacts, because that's another really big worrisome in marathon training, specifically for women, is it can lead to overtraining. And I'm in a great place in my life, and I want to be 100% honest, is I don't have kids. I have the freedom, I have some disposable income, and for the first time in my life, I just work one job, I have some hours, I have a balanced social life, and I can make the sacrifices. There's other times in my life when I had to work 2 jobs. I was in school, not great marathon training. I'll be honest, mothers who do marathon training are superheroes, and especially if they can do it and not overtrain. And I think that was something I just wanted to do for myself for my first marathon, is showing that I can run a marathon without wrecking my hormones. And I did that by sleeping and eating enough and taking time to relax. So in summary, I made sure to get enough fuel. I increased carbs. I added gels and chews, especially on runs over 20 kilometers. I prioritized sleep. For social life, I learned boundaries, but not sacrifice, still finding time for my friends. I learned a work-life balance, which meant 5 a.m. alarms, run, fuel, straight to the gym, office by 9. It's not optimal, and there was definitely, ideally, I would do my run and then weight training later in the day, but that's what I had to do because I know if I waited till after my work, I wouldn't get it done. Ironically, outfits, athleisure. I just wore athleisure all summer and just was super comfy because marathon training and being in stiff jeans sounded miserable. So I gave myself full permission to dress comfy all summer. Allowed for flexibility, so when life got crazy and I traveled, I had to wake up really early on a Tuesday and do my long run then, and it's not as optimal and it's not as enjoyable on a Saturday, but sometimes you just have to be flexible. I just realized something. I'm having, for my marathon, really bad bathroom anxiety. Like every run, it's all I can think about, because on my runs, I stop and go to the washroom. I'm a small bladder girl. Also, I'm a lot faster, feel a lot better once the other one has happened, and I'm like freaking out because I've done enough sports and competitions to know the day of, the stress comes and I won't go. And usually about 3Ks into every run, gotta stop. For the marathon, I'm like freaking out about. So I've just accepted, day of the race, 2 things are gonna happen. I'm not gonna be able to go before the race, and then in the race, I'm gonna have to go number 2 like 4 times and pee like 6. And I've accepted that now. And I know a lot of you are like, no, Keltie, adjust your nutrition so it doesn't happen. That's what's stressing me out. I'm spending way too much time trying to like perfectly examine my week up to, day of, so it's totally dialed in so it doesn't happen. And it's causing me so much stress. So you know what? It. I know my body, I'm gonna trust it. I'm gonna fuel for performance, and if my bathroom's a little off, so be it. Hopefully I don't puke. Warming up at a 3K conversational pace. I accidentally ran 30 seconds faster than I was supposed to on all of them, but that's just because I was concentrating on really good form. I was still in zone 2 and it felt easy. off to yoga class I signed up for simply to keep me accountable because I've been slacking on the mobility.
Good morning, it is Thursday, July 24th.
Day 100, and I ironically just have a mile today.
I'm dead.
$12K. Let's go. Got my longest run yet. It's race pace almost with some conversational pace mixed in. 30K, and two of my good friends started a run club, so I'm gonna try and run there and then join them for 5K. Just arrived at the run club. Let's go. We are still running. Thank you. Well done, ladies. Now, last 11K on my own.
Opening ceremony.
Legs are heavy. Yesterday, a 5-minute kilometer felt easy. Today, I literally can't do it. So that's running. That's running. And that's on recovery. Marathon train sponsored by Blueberry Bagels. Long run day, and what has Vancouver blessed me with? Rain! There's no out of it. It's at this point, I could go on the treadmill, but 15K on the treadmill, I'm like, at least it's still summertime, so it's not as cold. So you know what? I'm just gonna go run in the rain. Make it hair wash day. Maybe it's a vibe. And if it's not a vibe, we just deserve a really nice treat after. Being an adult is just constantly bribing yourself. After 11K of pure rain, we got some sun.
The glamour that is early morning long runs. Just a big bowl of oats and electrolytes. But today's my longest run of training. I have to do it on a Tuesday because I'm going to Whistler to do, you'll probably have seen it now, the crazy ultra hike endurance event. So I gotta do it on Tuesday before I go to work. So we're up early. Just eating a bowl of plain oats. I'm looking forward to it. I will say it's a crazy thing about marathon training is like when you start, 42 kilometers seems unrealistic, 34 kilometers seems unrealistic, 30 seems impossible, but like you slowly increase in, so it seems doable. Never ran 34K like this. It's fast. Wish me luck. I won't lie, I'm really nervous, but at the same time, it's not that deep. I just tell myself it's not that deep. If it goes wrong, laugh.
.5, I think. Almost 3. Just like 10% done. I just want to thank my Vancouver runners. There's been so many times I've been running on the seawall in this training, and one of you just stops and says hi. I wish I could put into words how many times I've just been suffering, and just you guys saying hi like completely changed it. It just happened now. Today's run was pure pain cave, but I always tell myself the worse the run is, the better I feel after, and oh, it feels so good to be done. Worth it.
Okay, Keltie, what are we doing today?
Okay, so today's workout, we're doing on and off kilometers. We've got a 1 kilometer warm up, conversational pace. Then we move into repeats, so 1 kilometer at a 5:50, 1 kilometer at 5:15, repeat, and then a nice little conversational pace cool down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's rip it.
Okay, let's go.
Now let's talk about some lessons and habits I learned along the way that might be applicable if you want to run a marathon or just running in general. Lesson number 1, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And that's what I kept reminding myself when I had to make sacrifices / find balance in my life. I just realized I couldn't be everything right now. I love this quote, and maybe this resonates with someone. It hurts, only because you asked for more. Hack. I learned the hard way to size up my running shoes half a size to a full size to avoid losing toenails. I did lose 2 at the start. Use sunscreen to avoid the runner's tan. I still got it, but reminder, use sunscreen. Join a run club. On my long runs, I would do about 10K, meet up with the run club for a couple kilometers, and then finish the rest of my run, and it was the best way to break it up. Shout out to Rio Run Club in Vancouver, which got me through many of long runs. And lastly, practice hitting the wall. I talked about with chews and gels. That was something that was really daunting on me for a long time of like, oh, hitting this wall. So I was like, yeah, let's practice. And I changed my mindset. When things would go wrong in a run, I realized this is a good thing. This is practice. And I learned to love everything that went wrong because I was like, oh, this will happen on race day. Here's how I adapt for it. Like smashing my phone, my AirPods not working, losing my gels, hitting the wall. And every time something went wrong in training, I changed my mentality to be like, this is a proper practice. And as August approached, I just started to feel happy. Like I was an athlete again. If you grow up being an athlete, your life is around practicing in game day, and it hardwires your brain to want to work hard and practice daily, push your body, and so you can show up on game day, where this feeling of competition is like no other. It is the celebration after the hard work. That is what game day is. And honestly, I feel that's why you don't hear too often about burnout amongst athletes, even though they're putting in so much work. Of course they do burnout, but I do think it's because you get this game day release. Add in some off seasons where you take a break, the highs and the lows. It's not for everyone, but this is how I was raised, and this is how my brain is wired. And being back in this just made me feel like me. And that's what race day is. Race day is what you work for. You put in the time, you put it in, not for the outcome, but for the actual race day itself. So let's go run Berlin.
Enjoy the butterflies. Enjoy being naive. Enjoy the nerves, the pressure. If you kind of want to stand on the top from day one, then there's nothing else to look forward to. Enjoy kind of the process of making a name for yourself and meeting some great people along the way. Yeah, so a lot of worldly people in this paddock who you can laugh with, learn from, enjoy some moments with. So something to kind of take the weight off your shoulders on a race weekend. They're also people to enjoy the moment with, to celebrate with. So don't be afraid to surround yourself with people that you care about and love, and they're also excited to, I guess, be on this journey as well. So
I arrived to Berlin in time for an authentic German meal at the oldest restaurant in Berlin. Saturday morning started with a shakeout run with the Runna team, and
Don't worry.
it all started to sink in that tomorrow I'm running a marathon. And this is when my first mistake happened. I never once looked down at my watch during this shakeout run because I was too busy yapping with the girls.
I'm filming anything. I'm like,
This will screw me over in the future.
Shakeout done, cinnamon bun consumed, expo, carb load. Let's go.
We're off to pick up my race bib. And I won't lie, my anxiety was peak in this moment. Luckily, Erica helped calm me down just in time for carb load. I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't decide if I wanted pasta or pizza. So get yourself a best friend that gets the pizza so you can get the pasta and you split half and half. So I had both. Then 'twas the night before race day.
Good morning, Keltie. Happy race day. How are you feeling?
I feel like I'm getting ready for Coachella. That's what I keep telling myself.
You are. This is the party time.
So we got
Boring breakfast, something I kind of had multiple times during training, so I knew I'd be good. We had some English muffin, oatmeal, berries, a little bit of protein, and then we're off to race day.
time to run a marathon. Why is this so funny?
it's so ironic.
Walking into a race felt like walking into a music festival, and I won't lie, I love this. Feeling physically good. But then here was an example of some mistakes you make as a newbie runner. I didn't realize I'd be separated from Ash at this point, who was holding all my stuff. I panicked, gave her my bag, only to forget that I didn't finish my electrolytes in the bag on a day that was supposed to be torching hot. But I was distracted, just wanted to get to the race, and this was all a blur. Met a new bestie at the start line.
Let's go.
And we yapped our way, which was really nice to kind of distract from the nerves. But also we took a moment to just take it in that I'm about to run Berlin Marathon. Oh my God, and like that, we're off. And I'm running my first marathon. What the heck? My legs are feeling good because of the taper worked. I run by my best friend Ash, get to see her face before I'm off on 42 kilometers. DJs are playing. And then I realized my mistake. My watch wouldn't show my pace. If only I'd looked at it the day before and realized that when I was testing on my Apple Watch for the video the few days before, I had messed up all the settings. So in this moment, I have no idea what pace I'm running.
6K. Oh boy.
But then I just tried to trust my body and not go out too fast, especially in this heat. I took a relatively moderate pace and just concentrated on my heart rate best I could and remember to trust the training. Then around 10 kilometers, cramps hit. But I remembered I had an element in my bag, and this is not advice, but I dry scooped that, which is a sip of water, and we were golden. That was just what I needed. I made do with not having finished it in my water bottle.
Over 10K. About 13 and a half. Whew.
Started taking a gel every 8 kilometers-ish, and my race strategy, podcasts only for the first 32 kilometers. I know, but it will pay off. Hear me out.
Should I run up a bit or will I catch her? Here, wait, can you take this? I'll be right back.
I ran by my bestie a few more times. And just concentrated on cruising, enjoying the scenery like I was a tourist. The heat was hot, so I just kept dumping water on me, and ironically, the 40 degrees Celsius France that I thought set me back reacted in the heat. 20 to 30 kilometers, I tried to just take in the moment and think of a loved one every few kilometers. And I won't lie, when I thought of Bennett and my dad, I cried. Then kilometer 32 and my race day strategy. Finally time to listen to my running playlist to give me that boost before the dreaded 32 kilometers everyone warns me about. The pain cave that I've been dreading, finally experiencing so much of all training. And guess what?
Let's go.
I had so much fun. If I can dance for heels in 8 hours at a music festival, as long as there's music, thanks to my training, I could do it in a marathon. And kilometer 36, running by my best friend, ended up being my absolute favorite moments.
I bought a cerveza for her. Hopefully she takes it. I don't think she will, but I think it'll just be funny. Regardless. You're doing amazing! And here's your... Love ya!
It was so much fun the last 10 kilometers.
Let's go. Let's go.
I probably took it too conservatively, but with the music playing, 400 meters to go to the finish line, running under the Brandberg gate while Greyhound came on shuffle, I've never experienced a running high that much as I sprinted towards the end. And I realized in my moment that was my goal, to show up on race day with a fitness level high enough that I could treat the day like a music festival, which I achieved, that I could run and have fun, and that high you get when it's a great song in a workout, I just wanted to experience for 42 kilometers. And that last 10 kilometers, I feel so special that I got to. And just like that, at the end of the marathon, I didn't feel defeated. I didn't feel broken. I felt sore, but all I could think about was, wow, that was fun. I want to do that again. And that was my biggest goal. This is why I did it.
The victory lap.
The medal's nice, but this.
Do you double fist that in the medal?
Right? No, I know exactly what I need to do this moment. I've been waiting all this time.
There she is.
Let's go. And there's only one way to properly celebrate the biggest goal and completing my first marathon in Germany is Oktoberfest with my best friends.